This is DJ the Prodigy Pen, and you're listening to the Ringside Report.
Hey, this is Cain Velasquez, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio.
This is Chuck Liddell, and you're listening to the Ringside Report.
Hi, he's Vanderlei the Ex-Murder Silva, and you listen Ringside Report Radio.
This is Tito Ortiz, the People's Champ, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio.
This is Uriah Faber, the California Kid, and you're listening to the Ringside Report.
This is Randy, the Natural Couture, and you're listening to the Ringside Report.
Hi, this is Vito Belfer, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio.
This is Chael Sonnen, and you are listening to Ringside Report Radio.
This is Jacques Saint-Pierre, and welcome to Ringside Report Radio.
Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey.
It's the one and only Digo Double G. Snoop Dogg. You know I'm mobbing with the D.R.E.
Yeah, welcome to the program. It is Ringside Report Radio. I'm Dave Simon. Anthony D'Alessio is here with me. No Fred Garcia here tonight. Fred is,
Yeah, what's Fred doing?
he's fishing. He's on a fishing trip.
Again? This
Yeah.
guy, man.
Yeah, well, he's a great fisherman. He's a jiu-jitsu player and a fisherman. His two great passions in life. He's got a third passion in life. We're not going to talk about that on the air. All right, we all know what it is. We're staying away from that. Tonight here on Ringside Report Radio, we're talking mixed martial arts. At least we're going to try to. AJ is here, and he's always disrupting the program, so we'll see what AJ brings us tonight. I'm a little bit worried. I'm telling you right off the bat, I'm a little bit worried. Fred's not here. Usually Fred and I can kind of settle AJ down as the voice of reason. AJ just unreasonable all over the place. But Fred's not here to back me up tonight, so I'm going to have to wage war against AJ myself. Hopefully this works out for the best. But Cousin Marco, Muscles Marco, our bodyguard, our man on the street, Marco, you know, you're on the show. It's this thing of ours that we have going on. You know what I'm talking about.
And Marco's a big Domi fan as well. So, with everything that's going on the last, couple of hours.
Marco, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. How you doing tonight?
There he is. There he is. Muscles Marco. All right, that's enough. Thanks, Marco. We'll talk to you later. That was good.
Marco, I thought you were going to say something about Domi, man.
AJ was good. Oh, look, he's new. What's going on, Marco?
Marco's nervous.
I got cut off, so I mean...
No, you're still here. Look at you. Your mic's still on. How'd you get cut off? I cut you off. I said, that's enough, but no.
That usually happens to me, by the way.
As it should, because you're really unruly. What do we have to talk about here? UFC 225 went down this past weekend, but I feel like we already recapped that. That's because we already did recap that. AJ, you were with me Saturday night. We watched the UFC pay-per-view together. We were live on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, youtube.com/ringsidereport with the .net spelled out D-O-T-N-E-T. And that's up right now on our YouTube channel. We were live, and we recapped the whole event that was UFC 225. CM Punk's loss, Robert Whittaker retaining his middleweight championship against Yoel Romero, and Colby Covington becoming the new interim welterweight champion in the UFC with that victory over Rafael dos Anjos. So we went through the whole thing. There are a couple loose ends that I want to get to about UFC 225. Mostly, if you want to see Mike Jackson in the UFC for one more fight, and the opponent will surprise you. So we're going to get to that in a little bit. We've got some potential WWE to UFC news. Is the WWE Universal Champion Brock Lesnar headed back into the octagon? There are strong rumors, including from the Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer, who says that Brock is going to appear at UFC 226 to announce his next fight. Not to fight, because as we know, Brock needs to re-enter the USADA testing pool and test clean for 6 months before he can even come back to fight, because he's got a suspension he has to fill out. But it seems like Brock Lesnar is headed back to the UFC.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see him back to the UFC in 2018. But if he's going to do that, it's going to happen real soon. because the time is running out. But I could see him fighting in December or maybe early 2019 in January, February, something like that. Super Bowl weekend maybe for Brock, but I think Brock will probably head to UFC 226 to say that he's going to fight the winner of Stipe and Daniel Cormier.
Whoa, Dave.
What?
Let me back up there a bit, or back up a bit.
What?
What are you talking about before it's too late? I'm a bit confused there. For Lesnar? For what? Like, in what sense?
What are you talking about?
You were saying that it might be a bit too late.
Follow the show, AJ.
I am, man. I'm trying to figure out what the heck you're saying.
I'm saying it might be a little bit too late at this point in the game to fight in 2018.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you were talking about his age or something.
He
or
is
whatnot.
40 years old.
Okay.
Time is not on his side.
All right, okay.
But we'll get to Brock Lesnar in a little bit and see if you want to see him fight for the UFC Heavyweight Championship in his return to the UFC. Fred will give us... Well, no, Fred won't give us his opinion because Fred's not here. I guess AJ will give us his opinion.
You could always send us a text.
And we'll ask Muscles Marco. Marco, did you notice what Anthony gave us here before the show? He gave us a recipe for chocolate zucchini muffins. I'm not lying at all. I'll tweet out a picture of this recipe. I don't understand why you have this printed out. You brought with you from home. You didn't print it out here.
No.
Because I was watching you the whole time you were here. You didn't print anything out. You have this recipe for chocolate zucchini muffins printed out that you brought for me and for Muscles Marco over here. And you gave this to us before we went on the air. Said, hey, this is a really good brownie chocolate zucchini muffin recipe. Make it. It's really good. I'm like, why can't I just make a chocolate muffin? Why do I have to have zucchini in there messing everything up? And why are you giving me a recipe? Why are you giving me a recipe just as we go on the air to do an MMA show? Why are you giving me this chocolate zucchini muffin recipe? I really want to just rip this piece of paper up and throw it at you.
What? That's horrible. I can't believe you're saying that.
I don't understand why you're doing this. It's bizarre behavior once again, AJ.
Listen, for the listeners who didn't see the rest of it, I didn't give you just one gift. I gave you three. Like the wise man gave 3 gifts.
He gave me a cigar, too, which is pretty nice.
There you go. Thank you very much. And what else did I give you, Dave?
I don't have to tell you what I'm going to do with this cigar.
I'm sure Rogan will understand.
I think Fred would know, too.
Yeah, Fred will understand as well. Listen. Why I gave you that? It's because it's Father's Day, and I know you guys have kids, so I wanted to make sure that you're on the health kick. So I wanted to give you, like, zucchini muffins, man. What's the problem with that?
You want us on a health kick, so you're giving us cigars?
Well, that's...
To balance it off, I guess.
And you also brought chocolate. You brought Ferrero Rochers in the studio. So you're really not trying to keep us healthy
because you're bringing
us chocolate, cigars, and a recipe for zucchini muffins. It is a bizarre prize pack that we have received here for Father's Day. I do appreciate it, though, because as I have been saying for the past few weeks, it's become kind of a catchphrase.
What, zucchini?
It is my first Father's Day this weekend, and I'm expecting gifts from everybody. I don't have to be your father. Just give me a present and call me daddy. And we're good. You like that one?
No, I like
Give me a present and call me daddy.
I love it. So the zucchini could be useful for kid number 2.
Why is zucchini... What?
You'll get that. The Italian guys get that. Trust me.
Well, I don't get it. I'm not an Italian guy. Anthony, we have some things going on in this city other than... MMA, right? And did you want to take this call?
Yeah, I do, because like right now people are like calling in wanting to hear what happened with like the hockey trade and whatever, which is like, in my opinion,
what happened exactly? Who got traded?
Galchenyuk got traded for Domi, and a lot of people are not too happy from what I was listening to from the boys just before us, and we've got a couple of guys. I think who is online, Mark? Chris?
What's this?
Who do we got? Chris, who wants to put in his opinion?
Still online, yes.
Yeah, okay, get Chris on.
Hang on a second, AJ. You're not leading this show anymore.
What? Sorry, Dave.
Settle down.
Get the zucchini
You're
out.
Taking over here, taking calls on hockey. So this guy Galchenyuk got traded to what team?
Mark, what did he get traded to?
He got traded to the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah. For who?
For Ty Domi's son, Max Domi.
Okay. And people are happy or not happy about this. You guys got to understand, I don't know anything about hockey. I'm a very bad Canadian. I'm born and raised here in Montreal, in the city, and I can't skate. I don't know anything about hockey. I could defend a takedown, though, so
That's pretty good.
Yeah, man.
Maybe take a good slap shot as well, but...
I don't think I could take a slap shot.
Oh, I'm sure you can.
No, I can't play
hockey. If you can get
hockey.
choked out, you can take a slap shot.
Who says I get choked out? I do the choking out. Why am I getting choked out?
All right.
I mean, have you ever been choked unconscious in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
I've never been put out.
But it's weird because
I always
it
tap.
happens.
I always tap before it
happened,
happens.
but you don't even know that it happens till people are like, you're crying and you just don't realize where you are. It just happens
crying?
too fast.
You're crying?
You're snoring. It's like, it's weird, man. It's
Do you
weird.
cry, though?
Yeah, tears come out of your eye, for sure. My first choke that I ever got, like, I was, like, literally crying.
I think you're just crying afterwards because your ego's bruised.
Well, that, too. That was The first one was.
So you want to take a call on hockey.
Wait. First of all, yeah, I want to take that call
We have
on
a
hockey.
guy on
Why?
the line,
Because, like,
Chris, right?
Yeah, Chris is going to get on. But before that, like, I was talking to Chris earlier, and one thing that came
off
up
the air, you were talking
for
to
sure,
this guy
for
who
sure.
just called
me
in
and Chris,
because
me and Chris go way back, man.
Do you?
Me and Chris, yeah. Like
Wait,
about
okay,
like
hold
maybe
on,
about
hold on.
6 minutes ago.
Let's get Chris on the line. Chris, do you know Anthony at all?
Not a clue, my friend.
Yeah, me neither, man. I barely know the guy, but I know him enough to talk to him here. So, Chris, you're fired up about this hockey trade, right? Explain to me what's going on. Why are you mad?
Well, I'm fired up, boy, but I can understand and appreciate you guys are talking about MMA, and I just sat and listened to you guys talk to, correct me if I'm wrong, Muscles Marco. Well, maybe Muscles Marco should go in the ring with Knuckles Nyland for a laugh.
Forget it, man. I've seen
Knuckles Nyland?
Knuckles Nyland is one tough dude. I'll tell you something. I used to do some charity events here in Montreal for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with a good friend of mine. And I'll tell you one thing. A good
friend of yours, Glenn.
Yeah,
Shout out to Glenn.
Glenn McKenzie he's going to mention, if he doesn't say his team name, Gracie Baja, he
Gracie,
always says Gracie Baja.
West Island.
That's right.
Shout out to Glenn.
Very good guy. So what we used to do is we used to have these charity events, and we invited Knuckles to come over as one of our guests.
That's right.
And let me tell you, he came to see like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for like his first time, and at first he was like, oh, man, I'd like to fight these guys, Like, for sure, stand-up Chris would probably damage quite a few guys. But, like, when it goes down to the ground, he knew right there and then, like, his game is over. But what happened was somebody actually challenged him to see how many push-ups he can do in, like, a minute. And let me tell you, I don't know how Chris is now. I think he's, maybe in his mid-50s? But I can tell you...
He's getting late, yeah.
Yeah, he's in his late 50s, but this guy is one tough dude, man. He was doing push-ups right in front of everybody like it was nothing, man. Nothing.
Man, he got beers, he got paws on him like a grizzly.
Oh, yeah, you know what? He's one tough guy. And I'll tell you something. I saw it firsthand. Like, some guy went out and said, you know what? Montreal sucks. I'm a Bruins fan. So this happened at the show. And next thing you know, Nyland went nuts. He was going to beat the crap out of that guy. It was no joke. He went up and he says, I don't want to say it on air, but he used the word like, what are you saying, you effer? He's like, okay. Yeah, he really was going to go hands down. But that's Nyland, man. He doesn't fool around.
No, he's a tough character.
So
what do you guys think about the whole Brock Lesnar thing anyway? Because I think this is the biggest farce that I've seen in the UFC and MMA.
Well, why is that?
I think the guy is a strong mother blank beep beep for the radio audience, but at the end of the day, I think this is somewhat a marketing ploy from old Dana Boy there.
Well, look, it definitely works marketing-wise because he's a former WWE champion.
100%.
But what you have to understand is Brock Lesnar was also an NCAA Division I national wrestling champion in college. This guy was a legit athlete. It's not like CM Punk where he's just a pro wrestler and he comes into the UFC to give it a try. Brock,
100%. I agree 100%.
Brock has a legit background.
WWE actor. I agree.
That's right.
100%.
He's legitimate, and when he went into the UFC, he became the heavyweight champion. Now, people could say, well, he beat Randy Couture when Randy was older, and Randy was so much smaller than him, and who did Brock really beat? But I think if you look at Brock's career in the UFC, he has some nice wins. He beat Frank Mir when Mir was very tough. I think Couture was still tough when Brock beat him. The Heath Herring fight.
That was the exact comment I was going to say, is exactly what you said. Couture was on the down spiral. Mir was on a down spiral, and I think
Mir was still in his prime.
A few knocks in his on the brain side, the
Maybe.
concussion side. That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe, but if you look at the Shane Carwin fight, Shane Carwin was a monster when Brock Lesnar fought him, and it looked like Shane was going to beat him in the first round. You can't deny that Shane Carwin was in his prime and was one of the most dangerous heavyweights on the planet at the time.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
And Brock's comeback over Shane Carwin in the second round when Shane gassed himself out trying to finish Brock in the first, and then Brock with that head and arm choke in the second round. You can't deny Brock Lesnar in that moment. That was his most. That's his most legitimate moment in MMA because Carwin was legit. Brock stood up to him and he beat him. But then, the wheels kind of fell off. The diverticulitis took a toll on him, and he never really had the stand-up skills to deal with a guy like a Cain Velasquez. And then right afterwards, Alistair Overeem.
Yeah,
however, that being said, I was pretty surprised how well Brock did against Mark Hunt at UFC 200 when he did come back. It was a couple years away from the sport. He'd gone through diverticulitis. He'd gone through a couple vicious beatings at the hands of Velasquez and Overeem. And then all of a sudden, Brock's back in the game, fights Mark Hunt, and beats him. Now, okay, he was on some performance-enhancing drugs, and that fight's been turned into a no contest since. But Mark, he still looked good, and his skills stood up in that fight against a top-level striker that he was able to take down at will.
I agree.
He's gotten so much better over the years. Brock is legit. He's been wrestling since he was 7 years old. So you can't take that away from the guy.
But let's ask ourselves this. Does Brock deserve to fight Stipe Miocic or Daniel Cormier right now for the UFC Heavyweight Championship? I don't think he does, especially coming off that no contest, especially not fighting for so long. I don't think Brock Lesnar is that number one contender, especially if Stipe wins.
Right.
You can't make the argument. You can't make the argument that Stipe.
From a Dana White
go ahead.
From a Dana White perspective and business and dollars and cents,
sure.
Why not?
Sure.
Why not?
I agree with you, Chris. That's exactly what I was just about to say. What it comes down to is that Brock brings money.
But as an MMA fan, I would much rather say Stipe can beat DC.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see if he can beat Kane.
Yeah,
that's what I would prefer. Yeah. If Stipe does win, I want to see if he can beat Kane. If DC wins, give DC Brock. Why not? What else are you going to do?
I know the next. My personal opinion on who Brock Lesnar's next matchup or opponent should be.
Yep, go ahead.
And I got two choices for you. It's either Jeff Molson or Mark Bergevin.
I think you want those guys beat up, right? I'm not too sure why. I think those guys are lovely gentlemen. I think they're very cool. Here on TSN 690, home of the Habs. I love those guys. I think the Galchenyuk.
Bergevin's at the gym now. He always wears tight shirts. And
yeah, he's a handsome fellow, that Mark Bergevin. You can't deny he's a handsome dude.
And Jeff Molson looks like Bryan Adams when he tried to be an American and put his hair to one side, all slicked over with a Jerry curl and stuff.
I think that's a compliment, though. I think that's a compliment. I think they're cool.
That's what I mean. It's a legitimate matchup, like Brock Lesnar. Actually, Brock Lesnar versus both of them at the same time.
See, that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting.
Brock would destroy them.
Well, probably.
In a very, very quick fashion. Yeah. That's for sure.
So, Chris, I'm sorry that the Canadians didn't make the trade that you were hoping that they make. Hopefully they turn things around and everything goes the way it is. This Domi character is good for the team, and they wind up winning the Stanley Cup next year, right?
Well, I don't think that much. No. I'm a realist.
Okay.
I try to leave heart and stuff out of it right now because if you put your heart in the equation, I'd probably be heartbroken for the last 4 or 5 seasons, right?
Yeah. Where are you from, man? What's that accent?
I'm from Newfoundland.
Oh, my favorite place in Canada.
Beautiful.
I love Newfoundland.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
Chris,
good spot.
I drove from...
Nobody cares where you drove from.
On, man.
No, nobody cares. Chris, great call.
You're so mean.
I care, Marco.
Yeah, no, that's Anthony. It doesn't matter,
all right,
actually.
Chris.
You know what? It doesn't matter what his name is.
It's AJ.
Yeah, well, there you go. See, it doesn't
even matter. Let me say it. I went from Porto Basque to Newfoundland. I drove 888 kilometers.
Good for you.
Nice.
Chris knows what I'm talking about. And Chris, you know what else I got? I got screeched on the boats in Newfoundland. Yes.
Did you kiss the codfish?
I kissed the cod, and I threw up all over the boat from the massive amount of drinking that went with it. It was ridiculous.
I love you, buddy.
Thank you, man. I'm a real Newfie. Well, sort of a baptized Newfie. Hey, Chris.
That's right.
So listen to us. Call in anytime you want, buddy.
No, I appreciate you guys taking the call. I know you kind of got your own deal on the go with the MMA now, and
sure.
I can understand and appreciate that.
Well, it's a big hockey night, man. We understand. People in Montreal,
it is a big hockey night.
they want to hear about this trade.
Yeah. It's there's I had lots of background information to back up my analogy and analysis on the whole issue with the Montreal Canadiens and what they've done in the last few years. I have some information on what they've done for drafting since when we had the draft in Montreal in 2009 and drafted Louis LeBlanc, who's now trying to go to lawyer's school. Maybe that's fitting.
They drafted a guy who doesn't want to play hockey anymore.
Yeah, he can't play hockey. He can't make it. That was in 2009.
Oh, 2009's a long time ago. That makes sense. So it happens, right?
2009. We got a huge draft history. We're the only two players since 2009 that actually played any substantial amount of games and actually had production.
Chris, I got to tell you, I was really liking this call, but as you're getting into the draft and the nitty-gritty of the Canadians, I'm not liking it anymore. So I'm going to say goodnight to you. Thanks for calling, man.
All right, have a good night.
Take care, Chris.
There he is. I was sick of that. I was like, okay, what are you talking about? I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Drafts in 2009, some guy named Louis. I'm like, all right, man, that's enough hockey talk. It's Ringside Report Radio. Let's get back to business.
Dave, the craziest part of all this is this. We've got Wally from Ireland last week with pretty much almost the same accent talking about cricket.
It sounded similar. I was like, what is that accent? I was trying to place it. I was like, is that Boston? Is that Ireland? What's going on with Chris's accent? And then, boom, Newfoundland. It made perfect sense.
Yeah, from cricket to hockey, man, only on Ringside Report Radio, where we talk about UFC, but we talk about cricket.
We talked about Brock Lesnar there.
We did.
We're sticking to the
subject
subject at hand.
And Chris is pretty knowledgeable, so it's pretty good.
See? He's way more knowledgeable in MMA than I am in hockey. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, well, you got schooled a bit today. You
know
more.
Nothing about hockey, although I'm learning a little bit.
But you knew about Chris Nolan, correct?
Yeah, I've been on his show several times to talk about the UFC.
That's right. So there you go.
That's how I know him.
Yeah. It would have been nice to see Chris fight in the UFC, like in his early days.
Yeah, was he a bad man?
He was Knuckles Nyland.
Yeah, I've heard he was a bad man and he could throw down.
He was a tough dude. He fought everybody. I think. But I mean, Probert. He fought. How many guys did he fight? He fought them all, and he.
But you know just as well as I do that boxing on skates is different than boxing in a ring, right? It's a different game.
It's funny because nowadays, talking about hockey, like off season, a lot of hockey players now are doing like boxing and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
So that's their off-season sport. So it's very, very interesting. But if
do you think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is worth anything for a hockey player?
Yeah, absolutely.
How?
Just for overall
I think it's
stamina,
just because,
cardio.
I think it's like a CrossFit thing. It's just because it's a trendy workout and it's cool.
Listen, if you watch hockey games now, which you don't
I don't.
You don't. So if you watch some fights, you'll see guys putting guys in guard in hockey and pounding at times. It's like ridiculous. I've seen it.
Full guard?
Full guard, my friend. Full guard.
With skates on?
With skates on. So like
Man,
right away I'm like,
hope he doesn't throw up his legs for a triangle choke. You rip your face off.
No, but you wouldn't. But he was throwing punches and elbows and whatnot. So what I'm saying is that I know a couple hockey players, and Muscles Marco knows one as well, that did take some lessons in boxing and learning a bit of how to grapple, especially on the ice. You got to know how to fight.
Okay.
Not that I can I'm not saying that you should do that to all the kids that are listening.
Yeah.
Unless you're Don Cherry, who enjoys the fact that kids should be learning how to fight in hockey, but
I think everybody should know how to fight.
Yeah, you got to, for sure.
Not necessarily
in
hockey. I do find it bizarre. As an outsider, a guy who's not into hockey, I didn't grow up as a hockey guy. I do find it bizarre. It's like the only sport where they're like, sport. Wait, timeout. Let's have a fight. Okay, back to sport. It's weird that they take a break from the game and have this other it's like a mini game. You don't play video games, do you?
Yeah, I
but
do.
In a video
times.
game, there's the main thing, and then there's a little mini game part of the game. Hockey has a mini game and it's fighting.
Yeah,
which I think is cool.
Which would be cool to see a boxing match and then a hockey game breakout. That's the biggest joke,
Well, that'd be weird, right? That would be bizarre.
It'd really be cool.
But that's what I'm saying with fighting. It's there's a mini sport within the sport. It's weird. Hockey. What a crazy game. Right here on TSN 690, home of the Habs. We've got some Conor McGregor news. Conor McGregor was in court yesterday, and there are strong rumors as to when his next fight will be. We'll get to McGregor Mania when we come back.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Daniel Cormier. You're listening to Ringside Report Radio since 2006.
Hi, this is Tarek Saksidin, welterweight Strikeforce champion, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio.
Hi, this is Vito Belfer, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio.
Welcome back. It is Ringside Report Radio. I'm Dave Simon, Anthony D'Alessio here with me, here with you every Friday night talking mixed martial arts. Fred Garcia not in the house tonight. He's gone fishing. Muscles Marco is here taking your calls. We had our boy Chris calling, talking about hockey and Brock Lesnar and all sorts of stuff. That was interesting.
I wonder if he's really fishing.
Fred?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
What are you doubting Fred for?
I don't know.
How about you getting pulled over by the cops today? You were watching my Wrestling Uncensored pre-show, myself and Johnny North. We were live on YouTube. You were watching. I know a lot of people were watching, getting a lot of interaction as we do every Friday afternoon on youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. All the info for that at ringsidereport.net, our website.
Good show.
You liked the show today?
I really liked it till I got stopped. But
yeah, till you got stopped by the cops because you were on your bike watching us on YouTube, which is not a safe thing to do. And I commend that police officer for stopping you. And I'm disappointed he didn't write you a ticket or even lock you up.
What? How dare you, Dave? That's
he
not
should have
cool.
locked you up.
No, first of all, I got to give a
thrown away the key like you were going to do to Nick Diaz a few weeks ago.
Hey, but I was... Listen, most people listening tonight don't realize that I was on the right side
where
the
weren't.
public opinion was on my side.
No, that's just what you say. That's your propaganda. That's fake news. That's AJ's fake news. Never listen to that.
63% went with me, but it's okay.
Just because people agree with you on a poll doesn't mean you were right, and then the next day you flip-flop your position, which is what you always do. You never answer a question straight. You never stick to one position.
Listen,
and you never get to the point.
Well, get
to the point.
My point is this. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Officer Codename Blue that's listening, and I said I would give out a shout out. So, Officer Blue, thanks again, man, for not giving me that ticket. And I know you like UFC and like MMA, so it's really cool. But yeah, I didn't think it would be like such a big thing to ride and watch like YouTube. But apparently in Montreal, it is. So
you need to be safe. You need to watch out where you're going.
I was on the bike path. What's the big deal? And it was a really good show, man. It was funny. It was great.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah, it was a really good show.
A lot of talk. I thought you were gonna blast me. You said you were gonna put me on blast. Well, that's not the term you use.
What did I say?
You don't know what that means. But what you said was you were going to
more cowbell, Dave.
You were going to put me on the spot or something. You had a whole thing for me.
I did. Like, you know what?
I don't know why I'm leading you into some sort of trap that.
No, it's not a trap. The trap was me getting stopped by the police, and watching a YouTube video of Dave Simon and Johnny North.
Yeah,
and like having a good time. Maybe because I was laughing so loud, that's why they stopped me.
It was a pretty funny show today.
Yeah, and plus, if you actually see my gear that I wear when I'm biking, you would freak out, man. I'm like, somebody kind of said I was kind of like, what's that kind of crazy guy that used to get shot out of cannons? His name was Dave. Super Dave.
Super Dave Osborne.
So my uniform, I actually have a helmet with a full visor, and I look like Super Dave.
You bike around on a bicycle with a full visor?
Marco's seen me. He knows. Full visor.
A tinted visor.
With an Adidas 3-stripe matching outfit. It's awesome.
Like it's like a tight shirt, and do you have tight pants too?
Yeah, with a...
Is it a one piece?
No, it's not a one piece. What do you think? I'm a Bruce Lee in the Game of Death?
It's like a really skin tight Adidas shirt.
No, it's not skin tight. No,
and like skin tight little shorts, little bike shorts.
Think of Super Dave Osborne getting shot out of a cannon.
He wore like a jumpsuit though.
That's what it was. It was kind of.
Are you wearing pants or shorts?
No, pants. It's pants and jacket. It looks like one piece, but it's not. Marco knows what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about a tracksuit?
Yeah, it's a tracksuit. But
why couldn't you just see what I'm saying, Marco? Never a straight answer out of this guy.
I want the one-piecer.
I asked him if you two were cousins. I still don't know the answer. This is 3 weeks ago I asked him the question. I still don't have an answer.
We're mysterious people.
That's right. Keep it down, boy. Keep it down. More cowbell. Listen, Dave.
Why do you keep saying that?
Because that's the running thing with me and Marco. I wanted to keep saying it. You don't know more cowbell? Dave, are you serious?
Yeah, I know the reference, but like it's not relevant at this moment.
Listen, what I want to get to is what was confusing me like for the last couple of weeks was your Twitter feed with you and like your fan base. And you're talking about, like, fiancé. And I swear, tonight I got my answer, like, what the heck is Dave talking about?
90 Day Fiancé is what we're talking about. It's a TV show. It's a reality show on TLC that we discovered last week that the Ringside Report and Wrestling Uncensored universe is very much into.
But that's so weird because
it is strange that it seems like I thought I was the only one watching this show. Obviously, there's other people watching the show, but I thought certainly I'm the only person that watches this show and Monday Night Raw and the UFC pay-per-view on Saturday. Turns out I'm not. Turns out like half the people that listen to this show and listen to Wrestling Uncensored also watch 90 Day Fiancé.
Except me.
Well, except you, but you need to get on the train because our boy Wally out in Ireland, he is so dedicated to Wrestling Uncensored. Last week, he heard us talking about 90 Day Fiancé. By the show this week, in 7 days, he had watched everything and caught up to where they are currently. That's several seasons of 90 Day Fiancé. Add to that, Johnny North, who is completely against the idea, completely against reality shows of any kind. Johnny North watched the latest episode of 90 Day Fiancé so he could be in on the wave because right now, on Twitter, at Dave Simon MMA, there's been a lot of 90 Day Fiancé talk. A lot of people that follow me on Twitter somehow are also into 90 Day Fiancé, and I love it because it's one of my favorite TV shows. It is fantastic.
No, but like when someone actually told me what it was all about tonight, I'm like, Dave is actually watching this crap?
I love it.
And I'm like, Wally's talking about that? I thought you guys were like, I thought maybe Wally was getting married in 90 days. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Or maybe Dave is planning something. I'm friends with Dave. And I'm like, I don't know. He didn't tell me anything about him getting like married. I know he has a kid, but like, you know, you never know. It's like 2018, a lot of weird stuff here and there. That's fine. But anyways, when I finally found out what 90 Day Fiancé was, I was like, and Dave has the nerve to blast me for not knowing Rihanna and he's watching this stuff? Are you serious?
Well, wow. I'm aware of 90 Day Fiancé and I'm aware of Rihanna.
That's crazy.
The fact that you're unaware of Rihanna has nothing to do with me watching a trashy reality show. It's a completely different subject.
You know what would be great for reality? You mentioned it right now, Johnny North. I would love to see a reality show with Johnny North, like a wrestler from where he started to getting to WWE.
I disagree.
Even though you trashed him today. I heard that part before I got stopped.
What?
Well, you didn't trash him. Like
I would never trash him. He's the greatest.
I know, but you kind of made it sound like you had trashed him last week by saying like Johnny is kind of like a jobber or something like that.
Yeah, because, yes. But then I explained to him that I wasn't trashing him, and he accepted it, and he understood.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay.
I would never bury Johnny North. That's my main man.
I know that. You'd be his best manager ever. I said that already.
I agree.
But I'd like to see him fight the Green Phantom. That I'd like to see. That would be awesome because I think they're not, like, from what I gathered from, like, Johnny and from the Phantom.
You've never seen that. They have wrestled many times.
Have they?
Yes.
And who's won?
Green Phantom. Who do you think?
Come on.
Well,
wow.
Why do you think I call him Johnny the Jobber? It's because he loses a lot of his matches.
Man, he's a beast. I don't understand.
Yes, he is, for sure.
Yeah.
Johnny's great. And I also have another podcast with the Green Phantom, which you could download at ringsidereport.net. We did a new one this week. What's Phantom in Japan? It's a focus on Japanese wrestling with my good friend, the Green Phantom.
Yeah, pretty insane. I saw a few episodes there.
There's a lot going on at ringsidereport.net, Anthony.
You're so busy, Dave. It's ridiculous.
Very busy. You got to keep busy. Wrestling Uncensored tomorrow night. New episode right here on TSN 690 at midnight. Very excited because WWE Money in the Bank is this Sunday. And former UFC champion, the great Ronda Rousey, will be challenging for her first ever title in the WWE, and I expect her to win.
Really?
How do you like them apples?
No, I can believe it. I'm sure you expected her to win when she lost to Holly Holm, but anything can happen, right, Dave? I mean, could it be that?
Are you trying to break this down like it's a real fight?
Well, it could be. Why not?
It's a pro wrestling match. You're still not completely clear on the concept of pro wrestling, are you?
I mean, I was technically in a sort of official wrestling match where I kind of choked out Phantom's guy.
Yeah, but I think you're confused as to what your role in that match really was.
I know. I kind of
think
slammed him a little bit too hard, actually.
I think what you did is go into business for yourself, which is a wrestling term, which means going off script and just doing whatever you feel like because you're getting excited.
Well, I was sort of told that if someone
me ask you
touches
something.
you throw him. I didn't know that.
You were told if somebody touches you, you throw him. That's what you were told? I doubt that's what you were told.
No, I'm serious. It was like as soon as the push comes,
let me ask you something.
Throw him, and I threw
Have you been
him.
asked to do any other performances in professional wrestling since?
Why, it wasn't that long ago,
Have you
Dave.
been asked to reprise your role?
Well, people really liked it in the crowd. They
Answer
loved
the
it.
question.
Not
See?
yet.
Never get a straight
Not
answer.
yet. But maybe
So the
Johnny
answer is-
North will
the
give me a
answer is
chance
no.
to be his minion or something. I'll jump in the ring for him. No doubt about it.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. That's what people don't want. Is
Why
for you to
not?
jump in the ring.
I think
because
it's awesome if they do.
You're a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You're a
Okay.
lifelong martial artist. You're actually pretty dangerous. As goofy as you are, you're actually a pretty dangerous guy. Which is shocking to me. You know, it's crazy.
Listen, man. Man of
So
mystery.
I look at you and I think, Anthony's so crazy. There's no way he can take me.
My mom tells me that all the time.
But then
Don't worry
I think,
about it.
wait a second. No, Anthony's a brown belt. Anthony's serious. He would crush me. Like if I really wanted to go, if I really wanted to fight Anthony, I would be in big trouble. So. You know.
But don't you
And
see the
that's
fun in
problem,
that?
No, but
That's the fun in it.
That's the problem, Anthony. If you went into a wrestling match and started attacking the pro wrestlers when you're not supposed to, you're going to make the pro wrestlers look bad. Do you understand that concept?
No, I do.
No, you don't.
Maybe not. But, but like, I keep trying to convince Johnny to put me in, like, you know, or at least walk in with him, like the old Gracie days, you know, when everybody was like shoulder to shoulder. Wasn't that cool? Just get me to do that
The
once.
Gracie family train there that they did? Yeah,
we
very
should
cool.
do that. Me, you, Fred, and Muscles Marco. 4 of us just walking in with Johnny. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
There you go. So there you go. I'm in.
There you go.
Just throw me in the ring if needed.
Yeah, but the thing is, you got to get the promoter to book that. It's not like up
Who's
to
these-
me or
Okay.
Johnny. You got to find the promoter of whatever show Johnny's on and pitch this idea to them, which...
Just get me the name. I'll do it. No problem. It's done.
Okay.
It's done. I'll get Johnny.
Where's James Mancini?
No, James is supposed to be coming in.
I thought he was coming in tonight.
No, not at all. He's coming in, I think, next week or whatnot. Yeah. Because it's got to get closer to his title fight, which is in August. James Mancini is fighting for the belt.
In TKO.
In TKO.
And he's going to come join us soon,
He's
right?
going to be joining us, I believe, next week. And then...
Let's go, AJ. Get it together.
I am, man.
And then what else do we have on the
And
docket?
then we have Olivier Aubin-Mercier that should be coming in the weeks... in the next couple of weeks to talk about his career in the UFC.
How sure are you of Olivier coming in?
I'm pretty sure Olivier is he's a stand-up guy.
Give me a
He's-
percentage.
Olivier Aubin-Mercier, I say, because he's like top-level judo guy, honorable man, he has the best-looking mustache in the game.
Again, not a straight answer. Can we get a percentage?
I'd say 99.9%.
Good. Well, that's good. The Canadian gangster should be coming in then.
He is coming in.
Yeah, man.
You know why? Because you're Dave Simon and I'm
Hey, man,
AJ.
listen. Olivier was on this show before he was ever in the UFC. So I think
You're right,
I
you're
think
right.
he should still, just because he's one of the top 15, I think, lightweights in the world right now, doesn't mean he doesn't have time for his old pal Dave Simon.
You're right. I agree with you. And you know what else he owes me? I got him a gig.
Well, he doesn't owe anybody
No,
anything,
he doesn't owe
AJ,
us. Yeah, you're
okay?
right. But if Olivier is listening, he was an actual ring boy in our charity events.
Yes, and he made a quite handsome ring boy.
He did,
but he
actually,
didn't have
with no
that-
shirt on either.
He didn't have that cool mustache that he does now.
No, he doesn't. No, you're
Or
right.
the fanny pack. His
Yeah, what's up
style
with that?
is really off the hook these days.
Yeah, it's kind of like
He's got a
interesting.
fanny pack. He's a Canadian gangster. He's got a cool mustache. Olivier's gimmick is off the charts. Like,
But
he's
he's-
really doing it.
Yeah, but he's a super, super nice guy. He's like a great ambassador for like MMA, for the Quebec scene, for the Canadian scene. The guy is like really the guy that you want to represent your team, your city, and your country. So
Yeah.
Olivier Aubin-Mercier is like a stand-up guy.
He is a fantastic representative of MMA and a great representative of Montreal and
Yep.
Quebec MMA. He's
Yep.
a fantastic guy, a stand-up guy, and I look forward to having him on here, and hopefully you don't say anything that offends him. Like, you owe me this, you owe me that, you know? Just be nice, all right?
Yeah. Just in case Pee Wee Herman's
Because,
hearing
you know,
tonight.
as tough as you are, I think Olivier could take
Oh,
you.
for sure. He'll like
He's
he'll
a
slam me.
He
He's-
fights for money, you know?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
We got to take a short pause here on TSN 690. I promise when I come back, I'm going to tell you who Conor McGregor is going to fight next in the UFC. All right? How's that? When we come back, I'll tell you who Conor's next fight is going to be. Ringside Report Radio, ringsidereport.net, live on TSN 690.
Hey, this is Cain Velasquez, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio.
Hi, this is Sander Borovsky, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio.
This is Tyron Woodley, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio.
Welcome back. It is Ringside Report Radio. I'm Dave Simon. The man you heard mumbling just a few seconds ago was Anthony D'Alessio. What are you doing?
I'm mumbling, man.
Yeah, I know.
You
can't mumble when your live microphone is on, Anthony. Get it together. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Getting some stuff here from Twitter. Antoinette says, come on, AJ. I said bring cannoli, not a recipe for zucchini chocolate muffins. And she also says the next pre-show you have to watch Sunday's episode of A 90 Day Fiancé and take notes because we're going to ask you questions 8 p.m. Sundays on TLC.
Lord help me.
Listen, nice shout out from TSN 690's very own Mitch Melnick. So thanks, thank you, Mitch, for listening. Very happy.
He's a legend. He's awesome.
Of course,
Mitch Melnick. I listen to him all the time.
Yeah, man.
Now you can listen to Dave, Fred, and AJ.
Imagine that, Anthony.
What?
You listen to him all the time, and now he's listening to you.
That's weird.
Sorry, Mitch. Sorry about that.
Mitch, thank you very much. Love you. But you know what it kind of reminds me of? Like, not to jump to Mitch because he is a legend, but one of my final fights in 2014 in Boston, when I was walking to...
We're talking about jiu-jitsu matches.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu,
When you won the world championship as a purple belt in 2014.
Yeah, and you know...
World champion Anthony D'Alessio. Clap it up, yeah, Anthony D'Alessio.
Thank you. So... who I saw which I watched all the time, was Gabriel Gonzaga. He was the guy when I was walking there, and he looks at me and he goes, good luck, man. I'm looking, oh my God, this is Gabriel. And it stresses you out. So if Mitch is listening to me now I'm going to be stressed. I don't know what to say anymore.
Well, the show's almost done, so
okay, so it's good.
I can handle it from here on in.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay? Just turn your mic off and shut up. Me and Marco will deal with the rest of the show, all right, buddy? You're all right. All right. Conor McGregor appeared in court in New York yesterday to deal with that whole dolly at the bus incident. He says he's working on a plea deal, and that's basically all he said. On July 26th, he's going to appear in court again, where he's expected to enter that plea deal, and then we'll take it from there. Maybe he enters the plea deal, they've worked it out, everything's good, he pays a little money, and then July 26th, he could be free and clear to get to his next fight. And I think that next fight will be in the UFC. I don't think he's going to box Floyd Mayweather again. I believe his next professional fighting contest will be in an octagon. It will be MMA. And I believe it's going to be against Khabib Nurmagomedov, the current UFC lightweight champion. Conor is the former lightweight champion. They stripped him of the belt. And, of course, when Conor threw that dolly at the bus... and I'm not talking about like a doll,
Dolly the
When
sheep.
I say dolly, I'm not talking about like a little toy. I'm talking about like a thing you use to push heavy things around, on wheels, a big hunk of metal. So Conor throws that at a bus, and he was aiming for Khabib. He wanted Khabib because Khabib had a confrontation with Conor's boy Artem the day prior, and Conor was upset. So there is a long-standing beef between Conor and Khabib. And the rumor is that the fight will take place UFC 229, October the 6th, in Las Vegas, Nevada. So if you're wondering when and where and against who, the rumor right now, which I'm believing, I think this is a very likely scenario. The time makes sense, the opponent makes sense, the venue makes sense. October 6th, Las Vegas, Khabib versus Conor. We figure out who the lightweight champion really is. Unless you count Tony Ferguson, who's still out there as the interim lightweight champion. He should count. But he's not counting in this UFC equation.
Not yet.
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
I think he should be fighting the winner of this fight.
Which is definitely going to happen. And to be honest...
Which will be Conor. I'm picking right now. Conor McGregor is going to knock out Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Right. I don't think, the Eagle is going to have the hands to be able to knock out McGregor, and McGregor has the hands to knock out Khabib. So it's going to be It's going to be like total like stand up. Khabib is going to try to go down, like try to take him down to the ground as usual, but it's not going to work with McGregor.
Yeah, and that's all Conor really has to do is defend the takedown. Khabib, I don't believe, has the stand up to deal with Conor McGregor.
We saw that in the last fight, right? It was a horrible stand up. In fact, it was pretty amateurish in my sense.
Yeah, I don't think there's a 155-pounder out there that can deal with Conor McGregor. I think if
maybe Tony Ferguson.
I think Conor smashes him too.
I don't know about smashing, but it'll be a really good fight.
I think he hurts him real bad. I don't think Tony has the stand-up to deal with Conor either.
If that's the case,
Conor, we're talking about a guy who went 10 rounds with Floyd Mayweather. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, you're right.
And you think he did so well that he should get a rematch. So let's not forget the caliber of striker.
Right.
Let's not forget what he did to Eddie Alvarez, what he did to Jose Aldo, the knockouts, making high-level fighters look terrible. Conor McGregor is head and shoulders above everybody at 155 pounds. I think the real challenges come if he moves up to 170. That's how you beat Conor. Mm-hmm. He has said it before. You got to bring something more. You got to bring size. You got to bring strength, because if you bring somebody that's the same size as me, I'm going to smash him up.
Well, I don't know what size he wants to fight at, but like in the last couple of days, he looks jacked. He looks big. He looks solid. So I don't know what he's weighing at McGregor at this point.
If you're Conor McGregor, who would you rather fight in your next fight? Khabib Nurmagomedov or George St. Pierre?
For money, it would be for George, for sure. But just to take the belt back, for sure he's going to beat Khabib and then go with George.
Who cares about the belt? He already won the belt.
He
won the 145 belt. He won the 155 belt. Why not fight George for the money? Win or lose, you can go and still fight Khabib. Win or lose, the Khabib fight is still on the table. I know the Khabib fight, there's a lot of hype, and that's the fight that the UFC wants. And, you know, there was the bus incident, and I'm sure Conor wants to get his hands on Khabib just as bad as Khabib wants to get his hands on Conor.
For sure.
But George St. Pierre is a real interesting fight. It'll make more money. It's not the fight that the UFC wants.
Why?
But if I'm Conor McGregor, I'm thinking, I don't know, man, Khabib or George. They're both very difficult fights stylistically, two wrestlers. George, of course, is going to have the size advantage over Khabib. But there's also the financial gain fighting George over fighting Khabib if you're Conor McGregor. So I think it's a riskier fight to fight George, but higher reward.
For sure, but the story...
And Conor McGregor likes the high-risk, high-reward scenarios. He fought Floyd Mayweather in boxing in his first professional boxing match.
Which he did very well, in my opinion.
There you go.
But for sure he's going to fight Khabib. I mean, there's the story already laid out. Everything from like the bus incident and the fights and the coaches getting like involved. There's a story. McGregor is not going to end up getting, not going to jail. That's for sure. He could get 7 years according to what the press was saying. So
yeah, he's not going to
get 7 years.
He's going to pay some money. He's going to get a slap on the wrist. He'll be back in the octagon by October.
By October, exactly. And he's going to fight Khabib, and he's going to beat Khabib, and then he's going to fight George, or he might fight McGregor. Either or, those three things, in my opinion, are going to happen within the next 2 years.
Okay.
And
you think they're both going to happen?
All three are going to happen. All three are going to happen. Fighting Khabib, George, and eventually fighting again a second fight with Mayweather, because they were saying November was supposed to...
You think the Mayweather fight is more likely than another fight with Nate Diaz? You think he fights Mayweather over Diaz?
For sure. For like $100 million?
I disagree.
I would agree with that.
I don't think the Mayweather thing is going to happen again.
Look, the rumors was that it was supposed to happen in November. So now if this fight is taking place in October, scratch out Mayweather.
Yeah.
It's done. I believe George is going to be in there, but for sure, McGregor will have a second fight with Mayweather. And it's not going to be in like years. I mean, Mayweather is 41 years old.
That's not happening. It's just silly.
Why?
I don't know.
Everybody said the same thing about the first fight. Everybody was like, that will never happen. That'll never happen. And it did.
It doesn't need to happen again. We found out what would happen if Conor and Floyd boxed. We know the answer. We don't need to ask the question again.
I don't know about that. We know the answer, but...
All right. Well, we know the answer about CM Punk, right? We don't want to see him fight in the UFC anymore. Can the UFC throw anybody worse than Mike Jackson at CM Punk?
Worse?
Yeah.
I mean, I can mention a few names, but I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, okay. Let's not then.
No.
I say WWE wrestler Daniel Bryan is now saying, he said just kind of in passing on his wife's Instagram, Brie Bella, by the way, one of the stars of Total Bellas, another great reality show you should be watching, Anthony,
I will.
On Sunday nights. Part of my Sunday night viewing, I watch 90 Day Fiancé, and then I watch Total Bellas, and then I round off the night with a little John Oliver. I don't usually watch all those shows in a row because I have a nearly 1-year-old son who, obviously doesn't let me watch that much TV in a row without lots of interruption. Shout out to my boy. Shout out to Father's.
That's right.
It's Father's Day, and I know firsthand now, celebrating my first Father's Day this weekend. It is a tough job, and we do not get enough credit. It's all about the babies and the moms and all of that. What about fathers? What about us?
Yeah.
What about me?
Getting bald and fat. Come on, it's not right.
What about me specifically? Daniel Bryan, I think, will be celebrating his first, maybe second Father's Day. He's the father of little Birdie Danielson.
Birdie?
Yeah. And Bryan was on Instagram, and he thinks he could beat Mike Jackson on the ground. And Mike Jackson was like, hey, why don't you bring it? And Bryan's like, oh, interesting, but the WWE won't let me fight for the UFC, although they do let Brock fight for the UFC, so maybe they would. I, as a Daniel Bryan fan, do not want to see it happen. I am a pro wrestling fan, and I am a fan of seeing guys do what they do best. I don't want to see a guy do something poorly when I know he's good at something else. CM Punk is a bad UFC fighter, but a great pro wrestler. I want to see him in pro wrestling. Mm-hmm. Daniel Bryan is currently in pro wrestling. I don't want to see him go to the UFC. He is one of the greatest pro wrestlers of all time. There's no reason for Daniel Bryan to go and fight Mike Jackson in the UFC. It's not going to happen. Dana White was very mad at Mike Jackson after that fight. It's not going to happen. No more Mike Jackson, no more CM Punk, and no more pro wrestlers without any real fighting experience behind them. Even though Daniel Bryan has trained with Neil Melanson for several years. He trained at the MMA Lab in Arizona, the team that Benson Henderson is from. And Danielson, I think, is a blue belt, but he's been a blue belt for like a couple years. He may be almost a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. He's proficient on the ground. And if you watch his wrestling, you could tell he understands submission grappling. But I don't want to see him in the UFC.
Well, he sounds like he's more legit than CM Punk at this point.
Yeah, no, I think he is. I think Daniel Bryan is more legit than CM Punk. That doesn't mean anything,
But
though.
didn't they call, I'm not too sure.
Everybody on the UFC roster is more legit than CM Punk.
Yeah, but just correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Bryan, call out CM Punk or something like that? Is there
No. Bryan doesn't want to fight CM Punk. There was no call out of any kind about that. No.
Because there was some other wrestler that, called out CM Punk, and I don't know what happened. I can't remember his name, but there was
Corey Graves.
That's it, Corey Graves.
Yeah, but he didn't call him out to fight.
Okay, I thought
we talked about this Corey Graves on the UFC 225 post show that's currently on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net with the .net spelled out, D-O-T-N-E-T. Obviously, Anthony, you were on the show, but you need to go back and watch it because you weren't paying attention.
It's like 2:30 in the morning, man. How can you remember everything?
Pay attention.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Follow Anthony on Twitter at Dan E. Bruck. Follow me at Dave Simon MMA. And Marco, get yourself a Twitter. Get it together, okay? At Muscles Marco or something like that on Twitter. By next week, I want you to have a Twitter page that I can, send people to. All right? That's your homework, Muscles Marco, okay?
Thanks a lot.
There you go.
Yeah, Marco, happy Father's Day. Dave, happy Father's Day. To everybody out there, happy Father's Day. To Officer Blue, happy Father's Day. Thanks for today and letting me go.
Yeah, thanks for not arresting Anthony when he's a menace to society with his weirdo helmet.
Hey, listen, man, I was listening to Wrestling Uncensored. You should have been happy.
I am happy.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm happy. If you're going to get arrested for listening to me. Okay?
That's right. And wear a helmet when you bike. Second thing.
Yes. Thanks to everybody for checking in on Twitter and on the phone. I'm sorry the Canadians didn't do what you wanted them to do. Or maybe congratulations that the Canadians did do what you wanted them to do. Although nobody seems happy about this move.
No.
Some people seem happy. Nobody's happy. Nobody's happy?
No.
Okay. I'm happy about it. Should I not be happy about it? Sorry, guys. For Anthony DeLessio and Muscles Marco, I'm Dave Simon. I'll be back here tomorrow night for Wrestling Uncensored to preview WWE Money in the Bank with Johnny North. This has been Ringside Report Radio.
Get top on the phone.
What's up, man?